Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. Today we're doing the mid-year book Freakout. And in true fashion of the Freakout, I actually haven't even looked at the questions. So, freeballing it the whole way through. So, welcome to the adventure. Okay, so this was originally created quite a while ago by Earl Grey Books and Read Like Wildfire. So it's been around for a long time, but my channel has only been around since like October, so I haven't done it yet. I haven't had a whole year yet. So this is my 2020 Freakout. So the first question is, what is the best book you've read so far in 2020? And I'm gonna totally have to say, if I can get it out because it's ginormous, Priory the Orange Tree. I loved this big, huge bad boy. It was the first book I annotated. It was so good. I'm actually reading it with a group, but I couldn't stop and wait for the sections because I think we're supposed to be reading for like another week or so, and I just had to get through it because I loved it so much. Definitely one of my brand new favorites. Definitely spurred on my rebrand of my channel. So loved this one. The next question is the best sequel you've read so far in 2020. Ugh. I feel like I needed to prepare for this and I didn't. The best sequel I read in 2020, I would have to say, is A Sprinkle of Sorcery, which was the sequel to A Pinch of Magic. I loved it. I love anything like seaside and pirate books. And then the three sisters in the Pinch of Magic, they're key for me, so I really enjoyed that sequel. The next question is, what new release haven't you read yet but want to? One of the new releases that I am super excited to read is Home Before Dark. I did get this a couple weeks ago and I still haven't gotten to it yet, but it's been on my anticipated list for 2020. I loved Lock Every Door, so I'm super excited to see what this one is all about. Number 4 is, what's your most anticipated release for the second half of the year? My most anticipated release for the second half of the year, I have 2 of them that I'm excited for. The first one is Hollowpox, which is the 3rd in the Nevermore series, and it's slated for October, so I'm hoping that that date holds. And then the other one is also the 3rd book in Victoria Schwab's City of Ghosts series. I don't know if it's really called that, but it's called Bridge of Souls. And that one I think is slated for September. So hopefully they come out. I know things haven't come out necessarily as they were supposed to, but I'm fingers crossed for both of those. My biggest disappointment of 2020 so far would have been... So I think my biggest disappointment, I gave 3 stars. I wouldn't say that it's like a big disappointment, but it didn't hold up to the standards I had for it because I loved Eliza and Her Monsters so much. So I thought that Now Entering Adamsville would be like as gripping and heart-wrenching and have me as invested as I was in Eliza, and it just wasn't. I mean, it was a fine story, and I listened to the whole thing, and 3 isn't bad, but like it just wasn't what I thought I was getting into. And that's probably my fault because I don't tend to read synopsises, and I just justified in my head how it would go, and it didn't go that way. The next one was Biggest Surprise, and I'm gonna pull one that I actually finished today. I just finished Felix Ever After, and it was everything. I'm really trying to read more diverse books this year and educate myself on the things that I don't understand or don't know, haven't been exposed to, and I feel like Felix did such an amazing job of wrapping up all of these questions or unknowns that I had and just really giving like an educational view in a fictional story. I listened to it, so I wasn't able to like, I would have wanted to like highlight and annotate because I thought there was just so many amazing points about being transgendered, being non-binary, maybe still not knowing exactly who you are and how it feels to not know. I've never questioned my identity, so it's a very interesting thing to get into the mind of someone who is and understand what life is like. And there was stats in that book that they were just thrown in there casually, but they were huge stats, and I think that reading it in that way in a fiction book, that it was just like a casual mental thought, made it impactful and not feel like you were necessarily reading a textbook, but it's something I'm going to remember. So Felix was amazing. I kind of wish that it was there was less drugs and swearing and stuff, so it could be maybe more mainstream for school. But I thought it was a great book, and going into it, I think as a parent, if you know what's in it and know that, you know, your kid is mature enough to understand, or you've already had conversations about it, I think it would be a great book to introduce them to seeing outside of their normal box if you don't have friends and other people in your life that you really get to walk with them in their shoes. The next one is your new favorite author, and I'm gonna have to go back to Samantha Shannon. I have not yet read The Bone Season, and I'm definitely super excited to get into it. Her writing was amazing. I just thought when a book was this big and it was an adult fantasy that it was going to be heavy and hard to read and hard to understand, and I didn't get that at all. I really enjoyed this, so I'm super excited to read more of her work. Number 8 is your newest fictional crush. I guess I'm gonna go back to this book a lot, but I really like it. I would say Loth. I just thought he was so cute and dynamic, and I don't know, I just fell in love with this character, and it definitely, you grow with him and you get to experience life with him, and I think him just like going into adventure and his open mind and his friendship with Kit and his friendship with the Queen, like there was just so many things about him I just really loved. On the other end, Ede was such a badass, so it's hard not to love her too. So definitely found a lot of new fictional crushes in this one. Number 10 is a book that made you cry. I don't think there's any books that have made me cry this year. I'm not a huge crier at books, and I don't know if I mean, I read a lot of hard-hitting things, but like nothing that made me cry. I think maybe the hardest thing that I read was probably White Rage, White Fragility, and How to Be an Anti-Racist. That was a really hard week, a really uncomfortable week, which it should be, of learning how Black history and white supremacy has just smashed their lives and put them in horrible circumstances. It's kept them away from the education they need, the housing they need, the jobs they need. And just the cultural racism that we just took as normal. Up until last week, I didn't really understand or a couple weeks ago, I didn't really understand the depths of it. So after like reading that and really understanding that, like I want to cry and my heart breaks, and we need to change. So that is definitely something that I have dealt with large emotions in the last few weeks, and I think the whole country hopefully is going through this and realizing that big things need to change. Apparently, I skipped one. So after the crush was supposed to be your newest favorite character, so I'm just going to put Eden with that. We already talked about her. She's a badass. She was awesome. A book that made me happy. A book that I really loved and it just made me smile was Tilly and the Book Wonders. I just thought it was such a fun story, and seeing her interact with actual characters. The story itself was maybe not happy and heartwarming the whole time, but just the concept and like the idea and imagination around it I loved. And then the Pages & Co. bookstore, oh, it was life. And so I do dream about, you know, being in a situation like that all the time. The next question is the most beautiful book you've bought or received this year. You shouldn't be surprised, but you know what I'm going back to. It is the Priory. Like, look at this epic art on here. Ugh. Actually, I've been meaning to go look at some fan art now that I'm done with the story and won't ruin it. But just so beautiful. I love a good floppy novel, so I'm super, which I'm sorry for all of you that hate floppy novels or broken spines, but I love them. And I'm super excited that I waited for the paperback on this one, because I think just the reading experience with the floppiness, like, it made it all even the better. So I love this. I think the artwork is amazing and probably my favorite one of the year so far. The next one is, what book do you need to finish or read by the end of the year? Geez, I mean, there's so many on my shelf that I just keep buying and haven't read. This one I really need to fit in. I'm really excited for it, especially it's fairly timely for where we are now. From what I understand, his two sisters are kind of separated, and one lives one story in one part of the world and the other in the other, and just how their race and their color really affects their daily lives. So I'm really excited for this one, just getting another in-depth view on what it's like to be a person of color. And the last one is your favorite book community member. I have quite a few members in the community that I love to watch and interact with. Gavin has been a great find. He's hilarious. He has the best middle grade recommendations. Olivia, she's so real. I love her vlogs and just getting a view into her world. I'm part of her Discord, so like that's actually the group I read the Priory with, and it's been a very cool, awesome community. The next one is Hillary from Melted Books. We found each other from our videos and have just gotten to be better friends, and are currently doing a buddy read. Well, we were for Felix, and it was just so good. There's just so many people that have been amazing, and I really enjoyed getting to meet new people and watching my channel grow, and like finally having people to talk to about books that understand our insatiable need to read. Like, a lot of my friends think I am literally crazy for reading so much, and this is a community that it's normal for us to read, you know, more than a book a month or more than 5 books a year. Like, we're all for it, and we read and read and read and love it and can talk to each other about it. So just, I love everybody that I've been finding in the community. So yeah, that is my mid-year book freakout. It was a little all over the place, because that is me, especially right now. But anyway, I would love it if you subscribe and hit that like button if you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next video.